Izumi for Heart of Heart, and today for Warrior Women Wednesdays, I chose to interview my mom. Yes, my mom, all the way from the East Coast. And so since I can't travel, I decided to send her some questions via email and have her send me a video response. So enjoy!
Hi, my name is Catherine Childree. I'm the mom of Naia Izumi. I was born in 1959, raised by a single mother. My sister and I, she's about 11 months older than I am. But my mom worked 2 and 3 jobs to take care of us and make sure we had everything that we needed. She refused welfare, so there were times that I watched her go to work when she was sick. And there were times she picked us up at school, and we had to sit in the back room where she worked until she got off in the afternoons. But she was a very determined and very hardworking woman. She not only was she work every day, but she would come home and she would do sewing jobs to help make ends meet. So she was always there for me. When I had singing engagements, she was always supporting me, even if she had to come with her work clothes on. That's pretty much about my upbringing, and I continued to sing and continued to sew until today. I would have to say my mother and my oldest sister. My oldest sister was also a singer. She traveled and went to New York, sang in nightclubs, and she came back home, got married, had children, and she was about 18 years older than me, so there were a lot of times that she took care of me when mom was working. So she's almost like a second mom to me, but she was always singing. She always came home singing. She would leave to go to work in the mornings, and she would tell us not to touch her albums or LPs, and as soon as she left the house, we would go into those LPs and listen to them and sing and dance around the house to them all day long. I learned Chubby Checker, Nat King Cole, Diana Ross and Supremes, Aretha Franklin, Chuck Berry, all of those great singers of old that really inspired me today to continue on using my vocal gift. But my sister and my mom were probably the most influential people in my life, and they still are even today. And I'll tell you a little bit about the journey. As far as my journey to establishing my own business, I really had no idea that today I would be in business for myself. I've always wanted to be in business because I've seen so many people that were doing it that I would have done it a little bit different. But from my childhood on up, I've always been a singer. I started singing at the age of 3 and 4 years old. I was always involved in choirs or groups or ensembles or worship teams or something that was music related. I played the clarinet at a very young age. So music was always a part of my life and was something that I would never ever do without. In elementary school, high school, I became trained vocally by a wonderful coach, involved in plays and dramas and taken places to sing in high balconies and foreign languages and gone to governor's honors and all of those really fantastic things that I was able to be involved in as a young teenager. But as I got older, I began to direct my youth choir at my church and direct my choirs at every church I've gone to. I've been a director at some point. In college, I was a director of our college choir. But all of those really kept me in the music scene. And when I got married and married to the military, moved away, every church I was a part of, I became a part of the music ministry. So music has always been a part of my life. When I went through my divorce with 3 small children in junior high school and elementary school, I had to take on a second job to make ends meet. So I worked myself 2 jobs and came home doing seamstress work, the same thing my mom did. It was so funny. Doing seamstress work on the weekends to help make ends meet and take care of my little family. I started teaching people voice out of my home because folks were always asking me to help them improve their gift and their voice. And so I started doing private lessons out of my home and doing seamstress work also. Eventually, I went to work for a local school of music teaching voice. once they heard me sing in the different languages, they immediately hired me. They didn't even ask anything else, but I enjoyed that. I started working with choirs and churches. From the private students would ask me to come to their church and work with their choir, and I started doing that. So it all kind of snowballed into where I am right today. Choirs began to ask me about doing private lessons, and I didn't have a location. So after about a year of doing workshops at churches and working with choirs and training groups and worship teams, I got enough money together to start open up my own studio, which I did. And that's where I am today. I'm still doing studio work. It's been about 11 years now. I've been in my own studio, and it's growing and it's doing wonderfully. I'm a seamstress as well, so everything kind of worked its way toward me being in business for myself. And as far as my dreams for my business, I love pouring into people. I love helping people. I love working with vocalists to help them to become excellent in their gift, because I strive to continue to be excellent at mine. So I try to live by my own personal example. I just love helping people. As well as being in business for myself in the vocal business. I'm also a seamstress, just like my mom. I do wedding gowns and all types of formal attire, household stuff. I worked for David's Bridals for 3 years doing weddings and formal attire, and I still do that today. I have my own clientele working on doing prom gowns and all kinds of things like that. And as well as the seamstress business, I'm also in another business for myself, which involves financial education. Helping people to maximize their credit potential and protect their identity and secure their assets for financial future. And I enjoy doing that because I worked for Equifax for a number of years in the credit area. So everything I do pretty much involves helping people, and I've always worked with folks. People seem to gravitate to me, and I've been able to encourage and inspire and enrich and help and pour into people's lives. It's kind of part of what I always do. When I decided to turn my life over to God, that was probably the biggest game-changing moment for me, because when I was a young girl, I was involved in a lot of things that I didn't need to be involved in, and got myself in little bits of trouble that I didn't need to get into. And growing up as a single parent, my mom's always working and was never home a lot, but my sister kind of raised me. She got herself into a lot of little things too that she didn't need to get into, but my life took a turn in some really wrong directions, drugs and other things of that nature. But when I finally got involved in the church scene, my life turned around, my mindset changed, my attitude changed. I decided I wanted to be something, do something with my life and make it about something, so that when I leave this world, that people will remember me and having accomplished some wonderful things in my life. So that was probably the biggest game-changing moment in my life. My game certainly changed, and my life certainly changed. And I wanted to be not only a good person, but I wanted to be a good mother, a good wife to my husband, a good mom to my children, and I wanted to be excellent. I started striving to be excellent at everything that I attempted to do, and that took hard work, but that got me where I am today. My child is my child. I'm not saying that I accept the lifestyle, but I am saying that regardless to what route my children choose to go in, what direction they choose to go in, whether I agree with it or like it or not, it's their life, and they have to live that life. Whether the choices they make, they have to live with those choices. And I love my children regardless of what direction they choose to go in. I love them when they came forth from my womb. I love them today, and I will love them when I leave this world. I support them in their efforts as long as they're doing the right thing, as long as they're making good choices and they're trying to improve their lifestyles and they have good attitudes and they're not involved in gang-related activities and drugs and all that stuff. As long as they're doing the right thing, I will always support them and let them know I'm behind them. I told them when they were little babies, you can be as great as you want to be. You can be as awesome as you want to be. It all depends on you and how your mindset is and what your determination is to work hard to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve. So I accept it in a sense that, why fret and freak out over something that you can't change? That's the benefit that I get, is peace of mind in just embracing my children and supporting them and loving them, knowing that that they're going to always make good choices. I really believe they're going to make good choices because they have up to this point. It would be to love in spite of. I will say, even the Bible talks about a scripture, and not to be religious, but it says love covers a multitude of sins or of faults. When you learn to love in spite of what people say to you, in spite of what people do to you, in spite of how people treat you, in spite of how people look at you or how they respond to you, if you learn to just kind of see them and don't see them, or love them anyway, or go, just treat people with respect and obey the golden rule, which means treat others the way you want to be treated. When you learn to do all of that, then you save your own mentality. You keep your own self positive, and your outlook on life is always good. That's what I call, quote unquote, those rose-colored glasses. And I tell people all the time, I love my rose-colored glasses because they help keep me in the right mindset. So regardless to the race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or lifestyle that anybody wants to be in, I always say that everybody wants to be loved, no matter how fat they are, how skinny they are, how beautiful they are, how ugly they are, how nasty they are. Everybody wants to be loved. And when you learn to love in spite of, you see beyond the barriers of race and religion and gender and sexual orientation, and you begin to see the heart of that person. And when you see the heart of that person, you begin to see something that's really gold. And we all are evolving, we're all changing, we're all growing. The way I am today, I may not be this way next year, and same for my children. They're constantly changing and evolving, and I've embraced that, and I will continue to embrace them and love them with my life. Thank you for a few moments of my time, and for a few moments of your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day. This is Catherine Childree signing out. Be blessed.